and understanding the working of primary market. So these are the objectives. Basically, you will be able to understand what are the primary, what basically how the primary market functions, what reforms have been brought about. And since primary markets are related to the fresh issue of securities, which are the various parties which are involved in the issuance of securities, and what are the routes which the company can follow for issuing securities. So, just a brief introduction. Now, no big corporate can solely depend on ownership funds for a long period of time. You have to grow, you have to expand, you have to diversify. So, more and more funds are required. Now, traditional sources of finance like ownership capital or taking loan from a bank can work to some extent. Post that, the company needs to raise more funds, and for that the best route is selling securities. Now obviously these securities can be in form of equity or debt, but the route that is followed is that they are first offered in the primary market, and then the subsequent trading takes place in the secondary market. So how do firms approach the regulators in the primary market, and for what purposes can funds be raised in the primary market? So just have a look at this slide. Now a company can raise funds for various causes. Like I told you, it is more or less to diversify the business. You have good investment opportunities, and you need to promote, say, a new subsidiary, or you want to expand the existing company. So for these purposes, the firm might find that the primary market route is the best, and we should go for issue of some fresh securities in the market. Now, a well functioning primary market is very important and integral part of the financial system of a company, because only when the response from the market is assured will the company put in so much effort and resources in going for a primary security issue. Okay, that is why whenever the company has to go for a primary market issue, in spite of getting approval by, say, SEBI, it will first gauge what is the expected response in the market. तो बहुत बारी होता है कि आपको अप्रूवल मिल गया है, बट यू डिले द प्राइमरी मार्केट इशू और द आईपीओ just to make sure that the market will be conducive to the issuance, okay, that you will get the required response. So let's straight away come to IPO. All of you are well aware of the term IPO. IPO is initial public offering. So when a private company wants to go public, okay, private company is a close knit company in which the securities are held by the insiders only. A public company is one which raises money from the general public by the issuance of its stocks. So when a company, a private company, wishes to go public, then it can offer the shares to the general public for, and when it is offered for the very first time, it is known as IPO. The company which offers the shares is known as the issuer, and the issuer company might fit an IPO. So in that case, the company takes the help of a number. Just let me know. Okay. Yeah, I'll just check the network. Just give me a minute. Okay, just check now. Is everything fine? Just let me know. Okay, it's fine now. Okay, thank you. So, with an IPO, the company takes the help of a number of parties to get the legal requirements met and help in managing the issue, even deciding the price at which the issue should come. If the company is going for the book building route, then managing the book, all this will be done with the help of other parties. Okay, so let's have a look which are the major parties involved in the IPO issue. First and foremost, the lead manager. Literal meaning lead manager is the one who's leading the entire process, responsible to make the IPO a success, run the books, manage the legal formalities. So, lead managers are appointed by the company to manage the IPO. The main duties of the lead manager are: first and foremost, drafting the prospectus. So prospectus is an invitation by the company to the public. If it is going public with the IPO, or say if it will be a more of a closed issue, और कंपनी कुछ स्पेसिफिक बिग फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस को अप्रोच करेगी, वहां पर भी इनविटेशन इज मेड थ्रू द प्रोस्पेक्टस. प्रोस्पेक्टस is listing out what the company is all about. So the main business of the company, what has been the previous performance of the company, and for what purposes the company is raising funds. So what are the future prospects of the company? Everything is mentioned in the prospectus. तो अब जो शेयर एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म होता है उसके साथ ही अब्रिज्ड यानी कि कंसाइज प्रोस्पेक्टस is attached, so as to give information to the interested party as to what the company is all about. Okay, after that, preparing the budget of expenses related to the issue, right from the legal fees which is involved, then getting the approval, advertising, publicizing the issue, maintenance of separate bank accounts where the share application money will be put in, kept, and all the activities, appointing the registrar to the issue, all these activities will involve expenses. So a budget of those expenses is also prepared by the lead manager. After that, suggesting the appropriate timings of the public issue. So once you get the approval from SEBI and from the stock exchange on which you want to list these securities, then you try and gauge what is the sentiment in the primary market. अभी market respond करेगी to the issue or not, and only then the IPO is floated in the market. Assisting in marketing the public issue successfully, advising the company in appointment of registrar, underwriters, very important, brokers, bankers to the issue, and directing the various agencies involved in the public issue. So, at the forefront, now we have the lead manager who is managing the IPO as an agent on the behalf of the company. और जो भी सब steps involved हैं वो सारे लीड मैनेजर ही डायरेक्ट करते हैं. So this is the main party in the IPO issue. Now, some of the examples of lead managers are given here. So, SBI Capital Market, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, DSP Financial Consultant, some of the lead managers in our economy, in our market. So they negotiate with the prospective managers to the issue. Now, it's not necessary that an IPO will have a single lead manager, it can also have two lead managers if the size of the issue is large. After the appointment of lead manager, the second party which is appointed is the registrar to the issue. Now, registrar is again often a bank or a company responsible for keeping records of the security holders. So, all the paperwork, if I say, if I use the word, now obviously nothing is in paper now, everything is through official online records. All that data is maintained by the registrar. Also, registrar is the one who receives the share application. They recommend the basis of allotment. So if there is over subscription to the issue, तो उसके बाद कैसे प्रो रेटा बेसिस पे, प्रोपोर्शनल बेसिस पे शेयर्स अलॉट होने हैं, ऑल दैट कंसल्टेशन इज डन with the registrar to the issue. They also recommend the basis of allotment in consultation with the regional stock exchanges. They arrange for dispatching of share certificates. Now, again, all this is in online form. All this information is then passed on to the company. Usually, registrars retain the issuer records for at least 6 months from the dispatch of the certificates and the letter of allotment. Okay, so this is a legal requirement that for 6 months this proof should be maintained with the registrar. Okay, next we come to underwriters. Again, a very important term used with respect to an IPO. So, an underwriter is the one who acts as an insurance agent to the company. Insurance agent, in the sense, it gives an assurance. Just have a look at the definition of underwriter. He's the person who gives an assurance to the issuer that if there's any shortfall in the subscription to the issue, in the event of non subscription, they would be the one. Now, underwriter will be an institution or a bank or a broker who will then readily subscribe to the issue. तो जितना शॉर्टफॉल हो रहा है, जितना minimum subscription, all of you know, is 90% of the size of the issue. So if in any case this minimum subscription has not been met, so then the shortfall in the minimum subscription is met by the underwriter. Now, underwriting is a contract between company and the underwriter, that if the shares are not fully subscribed, the underwriter will subscribe to the shares. Obviously, for giving this facility to the company, the underwriter is charging a fees or a commission. Now, as told, they can be in form of financial institution, bank, broker, or approved investment companies. Now, Coming to the appointment of underwriter, before the appointment of the underwriter, the financial strength of the underwriter, previous experience is considered. Okay, so how does the company choose an appropriate underwriter? These are some of the considerations which are kept in mind when the company decides who shall be the underwriter to the issue. The underwriter will take up the agreed portion. If the underwriter fails to pay, the company is free to allot the shares to others and claim damages from the underwriter. So, some of the examples of underwriters under the development banks and institutional investors are given to you. After that, the other parties to the issue are bankers to the issue. So, as the name suggests, bankers to the issue will manage the application money which is deposited by the prospective shareholder. Now, this money is kept in a separate bank account, and it is only after the shares are allotted to the applicants that this money will be transferred to the company. If there is oversubscription and there are applicants who are not getting the shares, then this money is returned back to the applicants. Okay. Now, depending on the size of the issue, the company might appoint more than one banker also. So, financial institutions, I've already told you, they generally are a party in form of underwriter to the issue. And apart from this, to publicize the issue, advertising agents might be involved. Okay, so when I use the term underwriting, there's another term which frequently pops up, which is the green shoe option. Has anyone heard about the ग्रीन शू ऑप्शन? क्योंकि जनरली जब भी आईपीओस की बात होती है उसमें एक टर्म होता है आपके प्रोस्पेक्टस में दैट दिस आईपीओ इंक्लूड्स अ ग्रीन शू ऑप्शन. So anyone has any idea what a green shoe option is? Never heard about green shoe option. Okay, only read the name. Okay, so not heard about a green shoe option. So what we'll do is once I explain the green shoe option, I'll take up one latest example. If you people remember, IRCTC came up with an IPO around 2 months back. Yes, heard about that IPO, IRCTC, Indian Railways. So there also the green shoe option was exercised. So there then we'll practically link the concept to the example. Let us first understand what green shoe option is. Now post the listing, एक बारी आपने शेयर्स इशू करे, सब्सक्रिप्शन हुई शेयर्स की, उसके बाद जब लिस्टिंग होती है शेयर्स की, a lot of fluctuation is experienced in the share price. Now, to manage that fluctuation in the initial days, the underwriter can exercise the green shoe option. Now, green shoe as a term came from Green Shoe Manufacturing Company because this was the first company which used the green shoe option in their IPO. And in India, this option was introduced in the year 2003. So it came very late in the Indian market. Now, within 30 days of the issue, the underwriter, by using the green shoe option, can ensure stability in the share prices. Now, how is it done and why is it known as over allotment option? Let us see. Now, under the green shoe clause, the underwriter of the company, the underwriter to the IPO of the company, is allowed to buy additional 50% shares of the company at the offering price. इसका मतलब हाइपोथेटिकली अगर 100 शेयर्स का इशू था तो अब अंडरराइटर 115 शेयर्स इशू कर सकता है. एडिशनल 15 शेयर्स can be taken from the company at the offering price. Offering price is the price at which shares will be allotted. तो अगर बुक बिल्डिंग हो रही है तो उसमें जो फाइनल प्राइस डिसाइड हुआ है वो आपका ऑफर प्राइस है. इस पे एडिशनल 15% शेयर्स अंडर राइटर को अलॉट कर देती है कंपनी फ्रॉम द प्रमोटर्स कोटा. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इज फॉर द शेयर होल्डर इट इज नॉट मेकिंग एनी डिफरेंस. आपको 100 शेयर्स में से अपने 2 शेयर्स या 5 शेयर्स मिले या 115 में से मिले, आपके लिए कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है, बट इट हेल्प्स द कंपनी अ लॉट. How is it helping the company? Now the green shoe option allows the companies to intervene in the market. जो भी मार्केट मूवमेंट हो रही है और अगर मार्केट मूवमेंट कंपनी के अगेंस्ट हो रही है, थ्रू द ग्रीन शू ऑप्शन द कंपनी इज एबल टू स्टेबलाइज द प्राइस ऑफ द शेयर. But this window is open for a 30-day period after listing. मतलब ये जो इन्फ्लुएंस है मार्केट प्राइस पे, this is permitted only for a period of 30 days post the listing of the shares. Now it is okay, so what I'll do is I'll move to the example straight away. Let us see how this is helping the company. So first have a look at the process with example. For a green shoe option is also known as an over allotment option because there is over allotment of shares. So a company plans to issue 1 lakh shares, but with a green shoe option it is actually issuing 1,15,000 shares. Additional 15% shares are being issued. Now, underwriter, and this sale of 15,000 shares is actually a short sale. So the underwriter will short sell the 15,000 shares. He's not owning them, but he has been given the right to allot these shares at the offer price from the company. तो कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल जो भी अग्रीमेंट हुआ है अंडरराइटर और कंपनी के बीच में, 1 लाख शेयर्स सीधा अलॉट कर सकते हो, एक्स्ट्रा 15,000 शेयर्स भी अलॉट कर सकते हो अगर ओवर सब्सक्रिप्शन है. पर अभी इफेक्टिवली द अंडरराइटर इज नॉट ओनिंग दोज 15,000 शेयर्स, सो ही इज शॉर्ट सेलिंग दोज 15,000 शेयर्स. It owes these shares to the investors and it must deliver these shares to the investors. The 15,000 shares used for over allotment, they are actually borrowed from the promoters. So, short selling में promoter से आप borrow कर रहे हो, इसका मतलब आपको promoter को वो shares वापस करने हैं in the near future, with whom the underwriter signs a separate agreement. So this is a short-term borrowing of those 15,000 shares from the promoters of the company. As I told you, for the share applicant, for the subscriber, it is not making any difference whether you are getting your shares from the 1 lakh shares or the 15,000 borrowed from the promoter. For the investor, for the shareholder, a share is a share, no difference. Now, money received from the over allotment, जो एक्स्ट्रा 15,000 शेयर्स आपने अलॉट करे हैं, इट इज केप्ट इन अ सेपरेट बैंक अकाउंट. So let's take an example here. So I have given you the price fluctuation for 8 days post the listing of the share. So say the offer price was rupees 10, लिस्टिंग के बाद दो टाइप की फ्लक्चुएशन हो सकती है, या तो प्राइस लिस्टिंग प्राइस से फॉल कर जाए, इट फॉल्स बिलो द लिस्टिंग प्राइस, or here the price is above the listing price. So let us see how the green shoe option is then exercised to maintain the price stability. What is a major area of concern is if the share price falls below the offer price. So, when a public offering trades below the offering price is said to have broke issue or broke syndicate bid. In this case, the underwriter starts buying the shares from the open market. Price कब fall होगा below the listing price? When the demand is less than the supply of the shares. तो एडिशनल आर्टिफिशियल डिमांड क्रिएट करने के लिए द अंडरराइटर, द स्टेबलाइजिंग एजेंट, स्टार्ट्स बाइंग फ्रॉम द मार्केट. ओके, तो वो जो 15,000 एक्स्ट्रा लिमिट थी, वो 15,000 लिमिट के शेयर्स underwriter can start buying from the market. Now what is the benefit of this? से आपका इस एग्जाम्पल में ऑफर प्राइस था 10 रुपीज, तो हर शेयर होल्डर को जो शेयर्स अलॉट हुए हैं वो 10 रुपीज में अलॉट हुए हैं. The underwriter has जो done the short selling of additional 15,000 shares, वो भी ₹10 पे हुए हैं. अब अंडरराइटर को जो शॉर्ट सेल है वो क्लोज करनी है. सिंपल टर्म्स में जो 15,000 शेयर्स उधार लिए थे प्रमोटर से, वो प्रमोटर को वापस करने हैं. अब फोर्थ डे को ये प्राइस जो है इट इज फॉलोइंग टू 8 रुपीज. The underwriter will start purchasing 15 shares up to that 15,000 shares from the market. अंडरराइटर को क्या प्रॉफिट होगा? जब शेयर सेल करे थे तो 10 रुपए में सेल करे, अब जब बाय बैक कर रहे हो तो 8 रुपीज पे कर रहे हो, तो अब अंडरराइटर को नीट प्रॉफिट हो गया 2 रुपीज पर शेयर, and he can return the 15,000 shares back to the company. Dual benefit: one, underwriter is pocketing the profit of the difference in prices, and second, now additional demand has been created for the shares in the market, and hence it will lead to a increase in the price of the shares. So this is how the green shoe option will work. First, please take a minute, understand the example. इसकी नंबर वाइज एक्सप्लेनेशन यस यहाँ पर दी हुई है. So please read the example and let me know, is this clear? So in our case, 10 rupees was the issue price, and buyback of these shares is taking place at 8 rupees. So 2 rupees profit per share into 15,000. यहाँ पर 15 मिलियन वाला केस है, 15,000 जो भी आपने एक्स्ट्रा शेयर्स करे हैं, so that will give you a good, the underwriter a good profit. Is this clear? This is what is the stabilizing mechanism under the green shoe option. I hope the example is clear. Can anyone tell me why this option is given in the initial 30 days? Just think of a reason कि इनिशियली ही ये ऑप्शन क्यों दी जाती है कंपनी को. Yes, anyone? Why is the green shoe option given for a time period of 30 days only? Or why is it given immediately post the listing? What would be the reason for this? Any guess? What happens if the share prices are left to the market supply demand and there is a lot of fluctuation initially with the share price? How is the public going to perceive this? This class, at least attempt, at least try to answer. अगर लिस्टिंग के बाद ही एकदम से शेयर प्राइस बहुत ज़्यादा फॉल कर जाता है तो उसका पब्लिक. यस, वेरी सिंपल वेरी लॉजिकल थिंग दैट कंपनी में स्टेबिलिटी नहीं है एंड दिस इज नॉट अ गुड शेयर टू इन्वेस्ट इनटू. तो उसकी वजह से जो सेकेंडरी मार्केट की डिमांड है वो भी इम्पैक्ट होगी. तो लॉन्ग रन में व्हाट वी से फर्स्ट impressions मेक अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस.